Hello, everybody. Welcome to What the Flick, the Newsroom. Ben Mankiewicz, Alonso, Duralde, John Iadarola, Cenk Uygur. Season 2, Episode 2, The Genoa Tip. And Newsroom is back, baby.
I can't tell if you're being sarcastic yet.
I'm being sarcastic. This episode had everything that sucked in Season 1 and very little of what's good. John,
I enjoyed it. I'll give my reasons, but first lay out your criticisms.
First of all, there was not a moment of inspired journalism in it. There wasn't even the great moment that got us doing this segment on the current show first, where you're like, that is how it ought to be, you know? There was just sort of, I thought, everything that's wrong with the show, whereas these big, important world events, tragedies, in cases like the Troy Davis story, that are just sort of all about some self-important snob's view of the world. That was about Don and not about injustice for Troy Davis. And that was just one of them.
I don't know, I'm kind of torn. This one kind of brought me back a little in terms of reminding me of those like Aaron Sorkin moments that I enjoy so much. And at the same time, yes, the sort of the sanctimony of that moment of McAvoy in the police station. I really never wanted to see Will McAvoy on 9/11.
Right.
But I think the way that they're structuring this season is they are laying groundwork. It's laying groundwork. The whole thing about the drones, the whole thing about Africa. Like clearly, these are all going to be payoffs later. But whether or not they will be good payoffs, we'll see. But I think that's the structure.
But to interrupt a little bit before you guys come in, but because like even those things were disturbing. Like first of all, Will doing 9/11. That was about him.
Yeah.
I'll be here all night, right. And everybody's watching that like. What a great moment when Will said he'll be there all night. So I loathed that. It was again this sort of. Clearly you loved it, but I
didn't love it. I think that's one way you can interpret the line. And look, I would have preferred to not have it.
Especially with that warm up of Sam Waterston, like, oh, your abused sisters or whatever. It's like, oh man.
Even in their interpersonal, that conversation between Sam Waterston and Jeff Daniels has never taken place between two people in the history of time.
Let alone in a newsroom.
Let alone in a newsroom when they're 17 seconds before returning from before tossing to the guy at the Pentagon, which still burns.
I mean, I'm picturing me going up to Ricky before a TYT sports segment, I know about what happened to Ruffles, okay? And I need you to be there like you were for Ruffles. Go.
I mean, if you're Will, how do you not go, how does your response to that not, what?
How do you know that?
Right.
Boundaries.
Yeah, right. What are you talking about, man? I'm doing the show. I'm doing a new show.
Concentrate, man. I haven't read this prompter in years. I'm the legal correspondent. I've been on the air for 11 hours. Can you kindly piss off about me and my psychoanalysis?
Look, I too would have preferred to probably have not seen it, maybe hear about what happened, although it is kind of cool to you see him on episode 1, season 1, as this big established Jay Leno of news reporting and everything, and I think it's interesting to find out where that started. And I'm sure that you guys, maybe you knew at the time, I had to read about it to find out, that an anchor at CNN, his first day was on 9/11. So I like that they sort of tied it into that experience, like that actually did happen in real life. And I may not have liked the exact line, I don't interpret it the exact way that you do, Ben, but I don't know what line you could have put into his mouth on 9/11.
Have him do the job well. Take the people who did the job well that day.
It's supposed to show compassion, though, and I didn't interpret it as I'm here so you don't need to worry. It's you guys are looking to the news because you're so shell-shocked by what happened. You just want to see someone and know that there are going to be answers. And he's saying, doesn't matter how long it is, if information comes in, I will be here to present it to you.
Of course, it's the fucking biggest neus story in the history of the United States of America. You're not going to go home.
You don't get a medal for being there all night on 9/11. Right. Of course, what else are you going to do? Nope, sorry, shift's over.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't know, man. It just, again, it becomes about how he served at that time, how he served look, Dan. Look, a lot of people were great on 9/11. A lot of it was obviously a big moment for journalism. No one knew what the hell happened. I mean, there wasn't any real information imparted about the things that we ended up caring about for what caused this or anything. They couldn't possibly know. But to get through the events of the day, Peter Jennings was fantastic. Just take 3 minutes, find what Peter Jennings said or Dan Rather said, and then have him say some of that stuff. It's not hard. But Dan Rather his thing wasn't like, I'm here for you. I mean, that's not, I don't know. It's just, and it's par for the course for the show.
I want to say that as much as I'm sick of the love triangle story, which we're still slopping up, I really liked the laundromat encounter with the Sex and the City superfan. I thought that was funny. It's random for this show. I mean, I think really at this point, if they're going to talk this much about Sex and the City, we need to just finally have that Newsroom girls crossover.
Right,
because they're both in New York.
That's right.
Just make it happen.
Jack, but I want to talk about that too. I did like that too, but for one very specific reason.
That's really funny because I was going to go into a love-hate again with this show, and this episode I was like, I love-hate this show! and the hate part is actually what you guys are mentioning. Not when they get to the laundromat. I mean, that's got its usual Aaron Sorkin, trite stuff, and Sloane's so smart and she wants to jump in, she wants to kill, she doesn't have a tolerance for. Every character is the same, by the way. Every character is Aaron Sorkin in how clever they are, etc. Right? But no, how they got there. Like, oh my God, I know she's on Foursquare. Or here she is. In fact, she's on the Fluff and Dry. Okay, it's got 3 minutes and 42 minutes left. I can get the E in the. I'm like, who are you? Nobody does that.
My girlfriend.
Shut up.
Investigative journalist. Exactly. Thank you very much.
My girlfriend covered her face halfway through that scene. Like, oh my God! Yeah,
I can't stand it. And then every time they show her yelling on the YouTube thing, I'm like, oh, nails on a chalkboard.
It should be done now, though. In all fairness, it
done
should
in
be done.
episode 3 of
Yeah, I
season
get that.
1.
I get
And
that.
I really like Alison Pill as an actress. I think she's very talented. She's been really good. She's been really good in other things.
Yeah, right. This is not
this character is not doing her any
literally doing
favors.
damage to herself now.
Wait, really fast before we go back to
I haven't seen her in
laundromat.
anything else. I find her to be a disaster.
I think
because
that
of
they
this.
are trying to expand her character. Like, she's still got the horrible love triangle and everything, but you also have her, again, you might see this as it all being about her, but she wants to establish herself as being a master of something in the newsroom. She's willing to go into this dangerous place, even though it's exposed to her how dangerous it will
This
be.
dangerous place, meaning generic Africa?
No, they've been very specific about Kampala,
Well, no, only
In the end.
only at the end. First she was like, Africa. She didn't know why. I'm going to steal this from the Huffington Post. Because I didn't even put this together, but more of criticism of Sorkin for being sexist. Like, she's like, what's a reason why Americans should care about Africa? Some guy says it's where our next troops will die, so that's what she latches onto. And then, just to make it abysmal, and there's no excuse for you defending this, at the moment where she has that painful fight with her friend, who is the girl everyone should date, go out with the roommate. The roommate seems lovely, right? Fun, not crazy. No, her roommate overreacted to that too. Obviously,
And she was way too clever and lawyerly for a fashion
of course. Yeah.
expert.
No,
or
she's
whatever,
the
but
smartest.
Got a lot more. Yeah.
No, they're the smartest people in the history of the planet. So her friend throws her, says we're not friends anymore, and her lips quivering. Alison Pill's lips quivering. She looks down, and there's a fucking book about Africa.
she's been carrying it because that's what she's
Like,
doing
that's my
research on.
savior. Oh, it's
With post-it
horseshit.
tabs.
It's horseshit. It's
No,
horrible.
she's gonna flee in the same way that Jim did, or whatever his name is. Yeah.
Yeah, and she's going to try to run away to Africa. That's the whole point.
Oh God!
But it makes her even
Another
dumber.
gummer. How many of them are there? How many Meryl Streep mini-me's are out
Right,
there
so-
in the business now, popping up and stuff? Now
Totally.
yee.
So let's get to the part I loved, right? And it's interesting because I'm not sure that it's something that I love about about what happens in the show as much as the concept of the show. I love that this fake newsroom where people actually care about the news, right? And I kind of want to ask Ben more than anyone else, like, as to whether it has ever existed. But like, when they talk about, like, oh my God, Anwar al-Awlaik was an American citizen, he was killed by a drone strike. The number of newsrooms that gave a crap about that was less than 0. It was -7,
Well, there was
right?
one online newsroom.
Well, there's
Right. There was
there's-
this newsroom, but we're not like that,
yeah.
right? But in terms of like CNN, CBS, whatever,
they weren't outraged.
they don't.
by it.
But
Yeah.
here's my overall point: they don't actually care about the substance of the news at all in a real newsroom. What they care about is like, did we break it? Who broke it? Like, oh, are we first? Or are we getting good ratings? What's happening?
And they-
but like
Is
the
there a source?
substance,
Oh, well, let
yeah,
me
but
jump
the
in, because
substance of like, oh my God, killing an American citizen without due process. Did anybody have that conversation?
Well, first of all, you're not-
the big picture newsroom. Constantly,
You're not being
yeah.
fair to many print newsrooms. We can discuss what many is.
Okay.
Unquestionably, whether it's like BuzzFeed or Slate or the Washington Post, I don't know. And no question, some people at the Washington Post and New York Times definitely care whether they got heard and whether they got heard in the big picture. Hard to believe that at CNN or CBS News or NBC News that happened.
You don't think Wolf Blitzer was just shaking with rage when he found out about drone strikes?
Well, again, this is the ultimate Monday morning quarterback show. It's 2 years later. We have all this perspective and all. It's very convenient to tell the story of Occupy from this perch than when you were in the thick of it or when it was building up and no one was paying attention to it. So same thing with al-Awlaik. With almost everything on this show, there is this very convenient year, 2 year, 3 year buffer to be like, yes, that's what we thought, and we were on that from the get-go.
I think that that's true. I do think, though, that they're moving away from that. Like, even when they're referencing real-life events like this, like they had the al-Awlaik, and they probably responded more quickly than a newsroom really would, but they had the Troy Davis. People actually felt that way when it was happening. Like, it's not just the hindsight.
True.
And the two main storylines going on right now, you have the fake, the Operation Genoa, which is based on something sort of real, but it's not a real news event. And you have this anonymous protest going on in Africa that's supposed to be tied to Al-Qaeda in Africa. Like, that's not really grounded in a real issue that was happening at the time.
But it could be, right.
But it could be.
Right.
But I think that he's trying to make it not so easy to just be like, well, now I know the right answer.
We've come up with a couple other events, right, to get around that, right, which I think is good. You're right. The newsrooms care to get stuff first. That there's enormous, but like they don't even get that right. And first of all, I'm not. I've been criticized for nitpicking about the show because I've been in newsrooms, but that isn't like I get that no newsrooms did that, and I like that this is a newsroom that does do that. This is the newsroom we wish existed, right? Yeah. But then they get little stuff wrong, which is incredibly irritating. First of all, there's like, I don't know, I can't quite tell what news gathering is going on in that newsroom. And the reporters of the world, the people who would be gathering these stories, they never get mentioned. They're immaterial to this when they're, of course, bringing in the information. Right, or the fact that we see Mackenzie highlighting the New York Times, so you're doing like every other newsroom, you're taking your story from newspapers, every other television newsroom. And then this notion of competition with first of all, Jim goes on the road in New Hampshire, right, and is on camera all of a sudden. Like, first of all, you're not going to have anybody. You would have had an easy time finding people willing to do that if they got to be on camera every day.
Exactly.
And then,
wouldn't he have a crew? I mean, is it normal to have just one guy camera and
for a big
so
tripod?
many candidates at this point, like.
Yeah, but they're on Romney. They know Romney's the guy. That's the thing, right? Or they certainly a significant one. Rick Perry's just entered the race at the time. But also then this notion of competition, like they're not going to help. No one has ever broken a story on the bus. Ever. They all work together. It's the same story every day for everybody. So then they're getting little things like that wrong. Wow.
Well, but they're getting that particular thing wrong for a very important reason. To confirm the prediction that I made last episode of our reviews, that she's going to end up complicating the pentagon of love triangles and all that. Like, she's obviously the girl,
right,
but they have to have their little feud.
Oh, yeah, right.
Could be.
Well, that's true, I guess.
But actually, based on the preview that we saw at the very end, it looked like there was one storyline that I'm actually really looking forward to, and that happens on the bus. When it seems like Jim rallies everybody to hey,
not do that.
Yeah, stop. No, stop just doing whatever they want us to do,
that's what I'm saying,
right? Like you're all going along because you need the access, but no, they need us more than we need them. That was the part in the preview. That I'm really looking forward to.
Guarantee
Again,
that's never happened, or if it did happen, well, the guy who it might have happened with, to some extent, is Michael Hastings. Who now, and Michael didn't make friends on the campaign bus, but that said, you're not really supposed to.
So, but again, that's the unrealistic part of this show, and the whole point of its existence. Like, wouldn't it be great if there was a newsroom like this? Because when Michael Hastings did it, my guess is in this episode, in this series, the bus will rally and they'll become the press again and stuff. When Michael did it, everybody on the bus hated him. They're like, oh, look at this smug guy who's actually doing journalism and embarrassing the rest of us.
Isn't there some quote from next week's show, though, that was also like, you're doing this wrong, and you're, like basically other people are telling him to, like, chill the fuck out?
Right, so we'll see how that develops. Now, again, to the point of, like, things that never happen in real life, somebody mentioned Wolf Blitzer. In every instance that this show, Will McAvoy does something, imagine Wolf Blitzer doing, okay? And you will really begin to like this show because you'll amuse yourself. You'll laugh and laugh and laugh. The idea that Wolf Blitzer would go and bail out a low-level internet producer, like personally,
Well,
No,
actually, that's the
But
kind of thing.
Olbermann would do it, I think.
But that's the kind of thing we
yeah,
actually don't know. I mean,
No.
Right.
Look, my sense of it is not that Blitzer's a bad guy and he wouldn't care about that guy. My sense of like, if someone was arrested that was a low-level producer at CNN, everybody's head would be like, oh my God, what did he do? Did he do something wrong? Do we need to fire him? Is he going to embarrass the rest of us? Is this going to cost us our reputation? Let's do damage control on this right away. Not like, oh my God, let me go help that guy.
And wouldn't they bring actual lawyers around that they could send over?
But Will's a lawyer. That's the
Well, I
thing.
know,
Remember- yeah,
I know,
right.
but I mean,
That's the hokey part.
But there's somebody on retainer.
But like you're right. I mean, at that moment when they found out that he'd been arrested, like they're in the middle of a heated argument, and they all just were like, "Oh, we got to rescue this guy." Like, they all stopped completely everything they were doing.
Like,
But again,
oh
that's
my God, the computer guy got arrested.
But that's
Let's,
not the
send
blog
in
is not
Anderson
being
Cooper.
updated.
But let's be clear.
Seriously, they would sell this guy down the river that fast? I mean,
I
I've
think
been
they
an
would be
outsider
looking to
here.
cover. I mean, yes, they'd send somebody to get him
Wow,
out, but
okay.
the notion. Look, again, it's the newsroom we want it to be. Like their presumption there was, this guy wouldn't get arrested unless their presumption right off the bat was, our guy's good, he understands journalism, the cops are wrong, we got to go help him.
Whereas in a real newsroom today, the
Yeah.
assumption would be the government is always right. Oh my God, my guy must have done something terribly wrong. Let's do damage control. Let's figure out what the situation is. But like, be worried that we're about to get in trouble,
Heaven
and
forbid we
hence
lose some access.
reserve a space under the bus for that guy. Okay. So and speaking of things that don't happen in real newsrooms, sending one of your top producers, she's in every meeting, Alison Pill, et cetera, right, to Africa? For no reason? You're not going to send her to Africa. What the hell's going on in Africa?
Aaron Burnett goes to Africa every time there's anything going on. So she can strap on the vest. And
Yeah, when there's an Egyptian revolution and there's good video, there's good visual, you want to send in your pretty anchors but to be fair, CNN does a very good job of covering the big revolutions, Tunisia, Egypt, whatever, et cetera, right?
But they don't send somebody out of
But they
Atlanta.
don't send someone out because they don't give a damn. Oh, what happened in Kampala? Who gives a crap? I'm not sending one of my top guys there preemptively.
And if you don't want to be the Africa expert, be the Africa expert without ever leaving your desk. You know,
Or just there is an Africa expert there. There is somebody who they have, like at CNN, they got correspondents there who cover stuff. They work, they use BBC people. I mean, they're going to send her there, and then she has that. Again, there's just too many brutal scenes where they break their own rules. Like, I don't care about the stuff that they get wrong about a newsroom because it's a different kind of newsroom. So we actually like that. But like, so Alison Pill comes to Gary Cooper, which that's funny every time, and says, he says, you see the story, 5 killed in this demonstration, and she goes, well, let's not tell Mackenzie. Because that story only went to her computer.
Yeah, because Mackenzie read the Times with a highlighter.
Mackenzie will never see that, and we know she will because she's freaking interested in where she goes. It's insane.
Possibly. But a lot of news is streaming in. She's not checking for everything. That guy happened to be looking for info about that place because he's going with
spent
her.
like 5 years embedded in Afghanistan. One of her earlier points was, you're not experienced enough. These are dangerous places. I'm pretty sure she's not going to miss the rally that killed 5 innocents
But I think
in
that's
Kampala.
exactly why Alison Pill wants to go. Like, it seems to us ridiculous. Why would you go preemptively and everything? But she's working in a newsroom whose EP is a wartime reporter. So it makes sense for her to want to emulate
It makes
that.
sense for her to want to go. It's a horrible scene that takes you out of the moment when all of a sudden, when there's not a piece of information these people miss ever about anything, that she's like, oh,
Yeah,
don't tell her.
Presumably, when Mackenzie quizzed her about the name of the president and the ambassador, she knew the answers.
Right. Yeah.
By the way, oh, come on. Okay, who's the ambassador? Who's the guy who gets some lunch? Oh, come on, that's never happened, never gonna happen.
And it's not realistic in their newsroom. Like, it doesn't, like Mackenzie would know. What's important for somebody to know in that situation is, it's interesting that Mackenzie says, you need to know who the ambassador is, you need to know who the leader is, and you need to have somebody in that government who's friendly and will talk to you.
And the culture and everything.
Right, and then you don't need to have read the World Book entry so that we can make that up, that the people eat rice. We need to know. So like, and
the
Mackenzie.
same Alison Pill, who's acted like such an idiot for so long in different things, whether it's relationship, etc.
But they're trying to change. That's what you've been wanting them to do, to
No,
change her.
But when it comes to a point where Aaron Sorkin would like to write clever dialogue, she's all of a sudden among the 4 smartest people in America, right? So anyway, but again, don't get me wrong. I want a newsroom like this. We just don't have one like this, and that's the whole point of the show. The whole point of the show is to kind of almost Michael Hastings them in a sense, embarrass the rest of news by saying like, aren't you supposed to do this? And have them sit there in their home and go, yeah, I'm kind of not doing that.
And what it's done is it's given the regular rest of the newsrooms around the country the ability to say, if the cost of doing your job right is to be a sanctimonious, know-it-all prick, self-important, self-aggrandizing, everything's about me tool all the time, screw it, I'll just do the shitty job we've been doing. Like, they've given them the ability to dismiss they have the easiest out in the world.
They would have found an out either way, but they believe
The show's
me.
handed them one.
The show has handed them one, yeah, that's the thing.
Okay, final question. Do we think that's remotely a big grandstanding statement to point out that Willie Nelson's version of Always on My Mind is the best one? I mean, duh. What, the Pet Shop Boys? Come on. But but the use of the song in the last chunk of the episode felt super.
Right, I mean, like, they're literally, you know, they mention the song and then they stare into each other's eyes and we hear Always on My Mind. Like, I got it.
And then it plays over like the next three
Three scenes. Like,
oh,
yes,
God.
these people like each other, and so do those people. Jesus, we've watched 12 episodes of this show. If any point has been made, it's that Mackenzie and Will had a relationship, and Jim and Alice and Bill might actually like each other.
And to be fair, Mackenzie's gotten actually a lot smarter and
Yes,
more bearable
that's
in
better.
this season.
Yes.
She's much, much better, and you get a sense, okay, this is a competent EP, and she's not a ditz, so that's good. He's definitely correcting that in a big way. And look, as I said in the first episode, it's anachronistic in a sense because the newsroom pretends that like this is like almost as if they're the paper of record but on TV.
Right.
Like what they do and what they say is so important because the whole country is watching. Well, the bad news is none of the real newsrooms are like this newsroom in the good way that in that they care about the news. Well, the good news is that nobody's watching, right? Like there is no paper of record on TVs. Like CNN's audience has deteriorated greatly.
Well,
and
HLN.
Right. There isn't one place where people come and go, will McAvoy stay with me whole night? Like, can I trust him to bring me the news on the station in the newsroom?
And will my Twitter appear at the bottom of the screen?
I like that, actually.
Although that reminded me of Current, and I was greatly amused.
Yeah, totally.
Speaking of the Twitter,
Except
one little
Kurt
thing.
managed to get like 6 tweets on the screen at the same time.
Our head was about this.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, totally, yeah.
And then the balls. One little thing I liked in the laundromat scene, which I didn't actually very much enjoy, but they had Sloan jumping in to say, I'll retweet it. How many Twitter followers do you have? 450,000. Which I liked as a little moment. I jumped on her Twitter, and she's got 500,000 now. When they filmed it, she probably had 450,000.
Oh, yeah.
So that's a nice little, like, it's
nice.
like her playing herself, kind of.
She seems like she has managed to be, unlike Alison Pill, unlike Maggie, who they can't, the dumbness and smartness is incongruous. That's not a person that exists. It's just a series of conversations that I don't believe. That's really, but at least with Sloan, like her ditziness seems part of what makes her smart. Like it works together. It that feels far more authentic. That she would be like, yeah, look, I know who the Sex and the City characters are, and I'm a little embarrassed by it, right?
But I love the 2 rings, 4 rings exchange too.
The 2 rings,
that was
good.
very funny.
That was smart. I'm totally with Ben. Not only is Sloan the best character on the show, most consistent,
yeah.
most believable, and you like her, etc.
Less
right?
repugnant.
Right.
Least repugnant.
But Olivia Munn, who I actually had no love for before this whole thing began, is shining through in this
I agree,
series.
totally, yeah.
I mean, wow. I mean, you like in a series with clunky acting because of the writing, etc. She's like this beam of light. Olivia Munn's underneath it.
I wouldn't have expected.
Yeah.
Well,
I
yeah, when
wouldn't have
she's in a
expected it
scene,
at
I'm
all.
like, oh, okay, you know. And I will say, whoever's writing the Will McAvoy ACN Twitter feed is doing a really good job.
Is that right?
Yes, really, like has interesting takes on news stuff and really shoots down the idiots who try to challenge this fictional character on Twitter.
Oh, I would.
Yeah,
I'll
it's
start following.
worth checking
What's
out.
What's
it's
the
Will
handle?
McAvoy ACN.
So
Yeah.
really fast, I agree. I think that she's one of the best parts of the show, but that's why I'm so worried when they have her like leaning across TV stations with what's his face, Don. I'm like, oh God, they're gonna ruin her. They're gonna pull her in, and it's just gonna be about relationship drama.
And how would she be attracted to that fucking doofus?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
That
man.
is so intensely unlikable.
Right,
I'm
so-
already mad.
And here was,
She was good in this episode, but
But here's this moment in this episode where we know we have an unlikable character. I mean, again, I'm stealing from Huffington Post here, whereas Huffington Post threw that one little Pete Campbell MLK bone on Mad Men, where you're like, oh my God, Pete had a nice little moment, but it was fleeting and gone, and believable that in that moment after MLK's assassination, some lousy people might have been moved.
Sure.
But here we get this, boy, we've had 11 episodes and nobody likes this Don guy. Let's have him, all of a sudden, we'll create this backstory, which I don't believe for 1 second that he's been crusading for justice for guys wrongly on death row forever, and we just haven't heard about it. I don't buy it.
And even if he has, that his solution is let's publicly shame this guy and show his house on television. I'm like,
Yeah, right.
come on.
Well, he picked up the phone, but yeah, I don't know, man. It didn't. I thought any progress made in week 1 was a deliberately step back, and we're basically right where we were at season 2, at season 1, where they're, again, we'll hope for moments like the one that we see coming with Jim on the bus, but they're few and far between.
But now that you like it less, you're more compelled to watch.
That's exactly right.
So, kudos, Sorkin.
Yeah.
You've done it again.
It's just, this is not The West Wing. This is Studio 60. It feels like that every episode.